The Labour Party confirms 3 names for September elections. And People's Democratic Party to launch its manifesto next month. Good evening and welcome to FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. The People's Democratic Party will reveal its first set of 15 candidates during the manifesto launch on July 5th in Nosore. PDP leader Felix Anthony says despite recent election polls placing them at the bottom, the party is confident of attracting voters. Christopher Chand reports.
The People's Democratic Party expects to be the first to launch its manifesto. Without giving away too much, Felix Anthony says their campaign will be based on the policies they stand for.
The manifesto will be detailed and will address all issues that are important to people on an everyday basis and will address issues that people themselves have raised with us.
While the National Federation Party and SODELPA have already named a number of their candidates, the PDP will wait until its manifesto is out.
We will be announcing the first batch of candidates on the 5th of July.
Anthony was elected leader of the party a month ago. He says the pre-election surveys are not a true picture of what people can expect on September 17th.
They seem to be quite unreal. We are very convinced that the PDP will do well. So far the support has been great. In fact, we are getting calls from all parts of Fiji to visit and conduct meetings with people. And that's been very encouraging.
Anthony says the PDP will be a truly multiracial party. The PDP hasn't made any commitments as yet on any coalitions. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
93 days to go for the elections and the Fiji Labour Party says its campaign is in full swing. Pocket meetings have been held all over the country, including areas that have been the party's stronghold for many years. Chanel Sivan has the details on some of the party contestants.
The Fiji Labour Party has so far confirmed 3 people as candidates for the September election. Surendra Lal from the Northern Division, Udit Narayan from Lautoka and Party President Lavinia Padarat have been confirmed.
As far as the Fiji Labour Party is concerned, we are ready to go. We are ready to go to the election in September.
Candidates all lined up?
Candidates, as far as I'm aware, they are all lined up, and perhaps I hope you wouldn't mind that the final names and the listing will have to be announced perhaps next Saturday.
Party Assistant General Secretary Kini Maroiwai says they were to announce few names this weekend, but it was postponed because the Social Democratic Liberal Party named its batch of nominees. He also says the party has gone through lots of transformation and it isn't the party it was 10 years ago.
Fiji Labour Party, of all parties, they have experienced being overthrown. One in 1987, one in 2000. And now they are still trying to go back into government because we feel that we have the best alternatives to offer to the people of Fiji. And with regards to what you're asking, whether it is changed, yes. Like any other party, they have changed policies, they have changed, part of their manifestos, and they've changed the programs that they would like the people of Fiji to have.
One of its election promises is to reinstate the Great Council of Chiefs.
Our mini manifesto that was announced by the party leader, Mr. Mahendra Chaudhary, at the Lautoka Sea Breeze Hotel. And one of the first part of our manifesto was the reinstatement of the Great Council of Chiefs, and we are going to continue with that.
The FLP is likely to launch its manifesto by the end of July. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Fiji Police Force is expected to meet with FICAC to clarify the roles each organisation will play in the September 17th elections. Police Chief of Operations ACP Rusiate Tunravu says while their roles have been stipulated in the electoral decree, it doesn't hurt to clear things out. Vasita Kotewasawasa reports.
The head of the Fiji Police Force met with Election Supervisor Mohammed Sanim to clarify their role during elections. ACP Rusiate Tunravu says it's important to know who people can turn to should there be any issues on the ground during polling.
Already discussed with the supervisor of election just to get the FICAC so that we can meet and then clarify all this thing out. We should be meeting sometimes next week, if possible. The supervisor of election is arranging that, just for us to have a better understanding on what role that the police will play, and also from the FICAC in terms of investigation.
Tunravu says even though under the electoral decree there is no need to have a police officer at every polling station, police officers will be stationed nearby.
However, we have planned accordingly to post police officers at polling venues, that they are near to the presiding officers and the team. Should there be any incidents happen on the ground, they don't have to call the police stations. They have the police officers that are available just to attend to any complaints that are there. So the police officers will be posted at the various polling venues.
Tunravu says after the meeting with FICAC, they will have a better idea of how to prepare for polling day. Apart from providing security at the polling centres, the police force will also need to be ready for its day-to-day operations and other emergencies that may arise. Wasita Kotewasa, FBC News.
Fiji Sugar Corporation has set a target of processing 2 million tonnes of sugarcane for close to 215,000 tonnes of raw sugar. This is the forecast for the new crushing season, which begins on Wednesday at the Lambasa mill. Christopher Chand reports.
It's the beginning of another season, and the sugar industry is hoping for another successful harvest. Bigger targets this year?
Yes, if you look at our crop size, we're looking at roughly about 2 million compared to about just under 1.6 million last year. Our sugar production forecast at the moment is between 210 to 215,000 tons compared to 180,000 last year.
The early estimates project an increase of 30,000 tons of sugar production. Abdul Khan says two key factors have improved: cane quality and the extraction of sugar in the mills.
The things that we normally measure is known as TCTS, which is ton of cane to ton of sugar. 3 years ago, before the reforms and implementing the right strategies, we were sitting at about 13, which meant that we needed 13 tons of sugar cane to make 1 ton of sugar. Last year we were below 9, so we needed 9 tons. So obviously the improvement.
Crushing begins in Lambasa on Wednesday, followed by Rarawai Mill in Ba on Thursday. The Penang Mill in Rakiraki will commence operations on June 27th, with Lautoka Mill starting on July 1st.
This year will be a bit more challenging, and mainly because of the sugar prices, has reduced by something like about 30%, which means we just got to work harder and work smarter on some of the other areas.
Last year's crushing season exceeded FSC's expectations. They hope for another bumper year, helping restore the industry to its former glory. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Coming up after the break, used clothing business raking in the money.
Talita na radio Fiji One na mwirani nonda kunua.
Ando talita kana borro na radio Fiji One singa toka mbole ni station ni Almatua.
Ando talita kabale una borro na radio Fiji One station ni Almatua ilo toka.
Ando talita kabale una borro na radio Fiji One mandi na station ni Almatua.
Au tungoi korbo ando borro mo live na station ni Almatua na radio Fiji One.
Ando borro na radio Fiji One na station ni Almatua na bandoi tele.
Na radio Fiji One nando moi vitina bonga ni BNN.
Welcome back, you're with FBC News. Women's Minister Dr. Chico Luveni will be instructing the Fiji Police Force to take a zero-tolerance approach towards sexual attacks and violence against women. She was speaking at the opening of the Namotomoto Women's Centre in Nandi yesterday. There are 739 cases of sexual assault pending in court this year. Of these, 477 are cases of sexual assault against people over the age of 13. However, another 262 cases are child sexual assaults. Dr. Luveni also says 262 child sexual assault cases are a national shame. A local businesswoman is thriving in the second-hand clothing business for over 20 years now. Vera Chute has been through many ups and downs over the years to keep the family business running. Rashika Kumar caught up with her.
Value City started over 24 years ago with couple Pat and Rosie Shute and overseas investors George and Heather Dunant. It has since then been a family-owned business run by the Shutes, Vera and her two brothers. The lack of good clothing at affordable prices prompted them to start a second-hand clothing store.
Being a need for good quality clothing and to keep it at a very good quality control processes so that we could keep the quality up, what was attractive to the customers. So yeah, basically that's why the concept was formed.
Over the years, the entire family's support base has been great. Shute says everyone has to play their part in order to keep the business going. She is a recipient of Women in Business Award, and according to her, it is not about the type of business one is in, but what matters is how much effort one puts in for the business to succeed.
I don't think it's about what business you do. It could have been a recycled clothing store, it could have been a scrap metal shop, it could have been a bakery, or it could have been anything. I'm proud and I'm glad that my team worked very hard, and so does the management, for us to have won that award this year.
Value City at one point had 11 branches throughout the country, but due to unstable economy, the company had to downsize to 8 branches. It did not stop the business from growing from strength to strength.
Over the past 3 years, we've grown back to 11 branches. To 8 branches. And before the end of this year, we will have another 2 branches in the west, namely Mba and Rakiraki. We've franchised our name, and they use similar products out in the Solomon Islands, Samoa, and Kiribati. And hopefully, we're hoping that things will fall into place in Vanuatu and Tonga by the end of this year also.
Yeah, it's really nice. We help us, most people who got no money, cheaper for the grassroots people, save us from hard life today in Fiji.
Yes, I often shop in Value City because it's cheap. It's got good quality of clothes, even though it's got a little bit of stain. You can somehow renew it by Genola and stuff. So it's really a good place to shop.
In a month, the business imports 60 tons of items that goes into Value City shops all over Fiji. 3 40-foot containers filled with clothing, shoes, bags, books and toys, and many more items that people use daily.
There's people from all walks of life across the community, the cross-section of the community, from the market vendor to the farmer, the villager, right up to the lawyer, the doctor, the banker, teachers, everyone there in our shops.
Shute believes it is really important to have a niche market, a good business plan, sound financial advice and a passion. Most importantly, she believes it is important to enjoy what you're doing. Rashka Kumar, FPC News.
And world news, the United States says it's prepared to intensify support to the Iraqi government to help fight Al-Qaeda-inspired rebels who've seized a number of cities. The group known as the Islamic State of Iraq has now threatened to march to the capital, Baghdad.
After days of fierce criticism of Iraq's army for abandoning their posts in the northern city of Mosul, the Iraqis strike back. The Ministry of Defense has released cockpit video they say shows fighter jets hitting targets in the city. It's clearly designed as a show of strength. It's a tactic that both sides are using. This is an ISIL, or the Islamic State of Iraq, and the Levant fighter claiming victory in Tikrit. Their aims are to establish an Islamic State that straddles the border of Iraq and Syria. After fighting an effective military campaign in nearly a third of the country, one of their leaders now has his eyes on Baghdad.
March toward Baghdad, the heart of the Islamic Caliphate, where we have to settle an old score, once and for all, and march onwards toward Karbala. So get ready for that moment, for the big fight.
ISIL fighters have made unprecedented gains, but the story of the day here in Baghdad is one of politics. Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki wanted a state of emergency law passed. He didn't get that after members of the House didn't turn up for the extraordinary emergency session that had been scheduled. That's left him furious and many in his party wondering what to do next. Meanwhile, in Mosul, thousands still flee as aid agencies struggle to cope with the influx of desperate people. In other parts of Mosul, there's no Iraqi army presence. Instead, Kurdish fighters remain on the border with the Kurdish region, checking cars and helping those who have fled. So far, Mosul remains quiet as ISIL fighters ask the population to open shops and go back to work. The Iraqi army have now reacted to allegations that they fled their positions from Mosul.
We want to say that these locations are sovereign Iraqi locations, and there aren't any orders to any units or brigades to withdraw. The orders are very clear. It's to remain in these locations and to fight these terrorists without let-up.
But anger is rising in Iraq at ISIL. Here in the mainly Shia south in the city of Basra, young men queue up to join the army. They say they want to fight ISIL and its associated forces. With such chaos across northern Iraq, decisions have to be made. Decisions that may well see young men like these fight. Imran Khan, Al Jazeera, Baghdad.
Coming up in sports, baby flying Fijians at risk of relegation.
Ando talita kana borro na radio Fiji One singa toka boleta ni station ni Almatua.
Ando talita ka bale una borro na radio Fiji One station ni Almatua ilo toka.
Ando talita ka bale una borro na radio Fiji One mandi na station ni Almatua.
Au tungoi korbo ando borro mo live na station ni Almatua na radio Fiji One. Do borro na radio Fiji One na station ni Almatua na bandoi tele.
Na radio Fiji One nando mo ibiti na bonga ni BNN.
Welcome to FPC Sports. The Vodafone Fiji under-20 side lost 38-12 to Argentina in the Junior World Championships. The Pumas outscored the Fijians 5-2 as well as 3 penalties. Hooker Wilisoni Langi and halfback Tumbuka Vueti dotted down for Fiji. Here are the highlights.
Pagadezabel sits the next target, they go blind again, and here's the first try. Official first try to Alvarez. And there's the captain, looks out to the right. And the ball into the hands of Scholes. Now the chip and chase, how's the bounce? It's brilliant! There's another try for Argentina. Players out to the left. Sosefo, big and strong as Vincent Sosefo, 3 short. Fruetti pops up a beautiful little ball to the hooker, reaches out and he scores. Great reward for Fiji, and Langi's over. They've come into this match full of confidence as they now look to burst off down the blind side. Here comes a try to Fiji through their halfback, Rueti. He's been one of the best on the field for them. Lovely play down the blind side.
The Salimone Ravovo coach side will take on Italy in the 11th and 12th place playoffs next Friday. Fiji will need to win that match or face relegation to their second-tier Junior World Trophy next year. The BSP Business Regatta competition attracted a large number of paddlers to the Silver Point foreshore yesterday. 35 teams competed in the 250-meter race course in windy conditions. The turnout was a pleasing sight for organisers who believe this to be a great avenue to attract new talent with a view to the 2015 Pacific Games.
This is a very good way that Fiji Outrigger uses to get basically to attract paddlers to the sport. It's also a good platform for business houses to basically develop their organization in terms of team bonding, networking, and just overall health and well-being. So it's a great competition. We're very thankful to BSP for coming on as major sponsors for this event, and I believe that we're also looking forward to them being major sponsors next year and a build up to the 2015 South Pacific Games that's taking place in Papua New Guinea.
Fine weather was experienced over most parts of the country today. A frontal system lies slow moving over Tonga and extends southeastwards over Niue. Meanwhile, a broad easterly wind flow prevails over most southwest Pacific Island countries. A mixed bag today as far as temperatures are concerned. 31 degrees was the high in two centres. Savu a low of 26 degrees. Similar temperatures in other places. As for tomorrow, mostly fine conditions are expected across the group, except for clouds over Suva and Savu in the afternoon. And the outlook for Tuesday, fine apart from brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. It will be cool at night. Before we leave our main stories once again, Fiji Labour Party confirms 3 names for September elections and People's Democratic Party to launch its manifesto next month. On to our poll question. This week we asked, do you think Fiji rugby teams need to better their scrums? Visit our FPC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fpc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page FPC News. If you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FPC News or simply #FPC News. That's news for tonight. Join Jackie and the team tomorrow. Good evening.